Okay, awesome. So we got Dennis on with us today. How is Dennis doing?
Hey guys, how are you? I'm doing great, thanks.
Good, good. So, Dennis, tell us a little bit why you're here. I know we're going to have you on so Beverly can take a look at your leads here and hopefully make some calls. But what is it that you're facing currently with the system that, kind of let us take this position we're in right now?
A lot of people that are not responding,
Okay.
and a lot of people that are, you know, the trend that I'm seeing is that a lot of younger buyers nowadays are wanting to look for themselves before they actually even contemplate working with anyone.
Mhm.
It's kind of that's the struggle that it's been, especially the younger generation, the first-time home buyers. Um, you offer them the services, you talk to them, you kind of give them the advantages of working with the broker, and they're still in the stage, hey, you know what? We're just starting. We want to look by ourselves. If there's anything, we'll call you back. And then you try following up, and then they don't pick up, and it's just going around and around in circles.
Tell me about your market.
It's a buyer's market right now. It's really tough. The condo market is especially tough. I think we've seen like a 90% decrease in the purchases in the first quarter alone. The freehold market with the detached and homes, it's all about price base right now. So generally, the people that bought 4, 5, 6 years ago that have paid the enormous prices and the market's gone down 30 or 40%, they're either not selling because their mortgage rates are too high, they can't get the money out, or whatever the reason is. Mostly nowadays, what I'm working with is the people that are, upsizing, downsizing, trying to get into the market, and investors that are looking to buy, knowing that the market will rebound, in time. So.
So what is your primary market? If people are coming into, I'm gonna butcher it, Nanaimo. Did I say
No,
it right?
John, Dennis isn't from Nanaimo. John is from
Oh,
Nanaimo.
oh, okay. I just love that word. I just wanted to say it again.
So my prime areas are Toronto, Mississauga, Oakville, and
Okay,
Burlington.
that I know. So as far as you're saying it's a buyer's market, who are the buyers that are buying right now?
Generally, people that are upsizing or downsizing.
Okay.
So they gotta sell their home and then buy.
And what's the market like when you said about the younger first-time home buyers? What's the market like for them? Are they even in the market right now as far as being able to have the down payment and qualifying financially?
Some of them are, some of them are not, but I feel like the younger generation is more not as aggressive as they should be with this kind of market. There are some really great prices out there to get into the market. I just feel like it's people are, and that's kind of what I'm getting from talking to a lot of clients is that, you know what, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Prices are going to get better. Prices are going to get better, where we all know they've been in the business for a long time that trying to time the market is the worst thing that you can actually do for yourself. So, it's having that conversation and that is the tough one.
And when you look at your leads that are coming through and conversations that you've had with those leads, when you say you're working with like the upsizers, the downsizers, and then you had mentioned, I think one of your biggest objectives are the first-time home buyers, giving you kind of that pushback. Where do you feel the majority of your buyers or your leads are? Where are the conversations you've been having? Where's the majority of your leads at?
So two major things that are coming out from talking to leads, either they don't have the down payment or their purchase power is not where it needs to be for them to get into the market, or unrealistic expectations. They're trying to purchase a property that they want for, $200,000, $300,000 less than what the market is actually suggesting. So that's two biggest objectives that I'm getting right now.
Well, are those really objectives though? Or objections? Because I mean, those,
They're realistic. Well, that's the
We can't make
reality
them
for them
have the
right now.
money, right? We can't make them have a
But
different
then
expectation.
my conversation shifts to, you know what, if you can't get the property that you want right now for the price that you want, why not get into a market where it's a transition property for the next 3 to 5 years, where you're building the equity instead of renting and throwing the money out the window versus, finding what you want right now.
And what does the rental market look like? Because I know here where I am right now in Virginia, we're kind of moving into that New York City mentality where people are not buying, they're renting right now because the rental market is thriving and what you get in a luxury community versus what you can get to qualify for to purchase, people are just renting now.
I'm gonna be honest with you, the rental market here is very high. The prices are very high. It's honestly, it's a no-brainer to buy versus renting right now.
Okay,
So, for example, a detached house, it's renting around $5,000 a month. That's basically, for every 100,000 borrowed, you're about 550 a month. So you're basically paying $900,000 mortgage for somebody.
for
So
sure.
it really is a no-brainer to me to buy versus rent. But it comes down to the purchase power, the down payment, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and how long somebody's going to be staying in the area. What is the primary reason people are buying in your area? Are they job relocations? Are they people that want to stay in the area because their kids are there? Like, what is the primary reason that people are buying in your market?
Um, like I said, most of them are upsizers and downsizers.
And they want to
So
stay in the area.
they want to stay in the area. I'm working with a client right now, for example, where the kids go to a certain school and they want to stay in that area. I'm working with one client who's selling and working in the city and wants to move into the city. So it's a bit of those. I do have a couple of buyers that are looking to buy as well. Like I had not a lead, but one of my old clients where we actually found the property that they want, price they want, everything. And when it came down to put an offer in, they're like, you know what, we're gonna wait for the summer because we think the prices are gonna go down. So it's like, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, are they wrong?
Well, who knows? The right now the market is trending the way it's trending with the mortgage applications that we're getting, that the market will improve. We're also seeing some sales coming in where versus the last year, sales where the market is improving for sure. Um, and the mortgage rates are obviously came down. So honestly, I wouldn't say that they're right, but you can't you have to push certain buttons, but you also have to be careful not to push too hard, where it gets to the point where it's just not professional.
Well, and there's a point where like we have objections and then we have reasons. And if they're not wrong, right? It's having those conversations and knowing where to put them in the database. And I heard you say like the first time home buyers, they're just out there, they can do everything on their own. They're a different generation. They don't need your help, right?
Well, they
Yeah.
do.
I know they do, but
They
that's their
definitely.
mentality, right? Like, I can just go do it myself. Like, you just let me in the
Yep,
door, right?
yep. And they don't know how wrong they are. I mean, again, I have a certain amount of buyers that when you actually sit down with them and do a presentation and explain to them the benefits of working with an agent, they actually get it. But there's people that just won't give you the time of day, right? All it takes is 15, 20 minutes to sit down with somebody who's going to explain to them what the benefits are. But if you have people that, don't want to listen, there's really not much you can do.
Well, and do you really want to work with them anyway?
Not really. You're right.
Yeah, right. And that's where being equipped with the right questions to ask is so pivotal in those conversations because then you're literally working with people that value the questions you're asking them because they're feeling seen and heard. And they feel that you're listening to their struggles and their challenges And that's where the marriage really works. Now, the biggest frustration is getting these leads to answer the phone and getting these leads to be in conversation with them. So tell me about how you're working your database and how many conversations you're having and what that looks like.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm terrible at it.
You're the norm. You're not exceptional.
I am terrible at it. I can't say that I don't call my leads. I do call my leads. I think my biggest issue is the timing because you'll get these messages where the lead is looking at the property or the lead has liked this property and so on and so on. But I believe that calling that lead when they're looking and when they're liking that property is probably the most pivotal part. But if you're in showings or you're somewhere else, by the time you get home, it's 2 hours later. There's just, I think that the time has passed. Like I had a conversation with one of the leads like last week where the lady was actually really nice. We had a 20-minute conversation. She's looking to buy. She's waiting for some money to come in. But then she's like, you know what? I'm really not in the market right now. Like, I need everything to settle down. I'm like, okay, great. Is it okay if I follow up with you in 2 to 3 weeks? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. But then you call them 2, 3 weeks later and they're not picking up the phone. So
Yeah.
how often do you call that lead in order not to look desperate or whatever? You know what I mean?
So let's go back to the very first thing that you said as far as having that actual first conversation and actually getting a hold of them. So if you're out showing property, you feel that you've missed that pivotal moment once they register. And I'm going to go like Monday morning quarterback this one with you because with Google Leads, we don't know where they are in the process. They can be in multiple different areas of the process. And if someone is just visiting the area because they know someone that lives there and they just popped in the area and they're like, it's a really nice area. It'd be really cool to live here. Just wonder what the houses were priced like. And they're just like, boop, right? They have no intention, but it's a fleeting thought in the back of their mind that just wondering what the market is, because if opportunity would ever come down the pike in the future, I just want to have an idea. So we have those kind of buyers. Then we have the ones that are like, I need to buy a house today. Like I'm serious. I want to buy. Those are very, very few.
Yep.
Then you have the second category that they've been looking for a long time and they've now increased how much they're looking online and they don't believe that everything that they're seeing is all that's out there. They think they might be missing something. So they just keep going from website to website to website to website because they're looking for something because their agent's not giving them all of the properties, right? So they're looking for something. So if someone's increased their online activity because they're ready because they're seasoned, or they're just licky-loos, or they're just starting the process, asking those questions, we only know what we've experienced. And what we've experienced is the perception that we bring to our database. Because I hear people say all the time, every single one of my leads are bad phone numbers. Well, is it really the case? Like every single one? They're
No.
not, right? But that's the feeling we get whenever we open the dashboard because that feeling just sucks. And that's the emotion that we remember whenever we look at our database. So when I look at leads coming in, I look at a Google lead as I don't need to jump on you the first 2 seconds. That is the old mentality thought of speed to lead. Well, everything that's gotten forgotten is the consistency of the follow through with that particular lead to increase your chances of having a conversation. Because 99% of the agents speed to lead, but then they never try to call again. So if you're speed to lead and they don't answer the phone, what's the difference of speed to lead, they don't answer the phone, or you're not in front of the computer whenever they register, right?
No. And to
So
be honest
I
with
look
you,
at that consistency of trying to get a hold of them within the first 2 week period. Go ahead. What were we going to say?
I was going to say, when it comes to bad phone numbers and stuff like that, I know the option where the phone number is invalid is actually really, really good. I use it consistently, and I can tell you about 50 to 60% of those people actually input the right phone number afterwards.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's typos, right? Because most people are on their phones. And you have big fingers, right? I mean, I typo my name half the time, right? So we can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and go, oh, they just purposely gave me a wrong number because sometimes, and that's why I love the automation, right? Yay, thank God it's a bad phone number. That's a one less phone call I got to make, right? But let the system work for you. Send out the bad phone number campaign, and then it's going to prompt them when you mark it as a bad phone number next time they log in to correct it or give you another wrong one, right? That's one
And,
less thing you
and
got to worry about.
And to be honest with you, one of the biggest obstacles that I'm getting, and maybe that's something that you can give me a piece of advice on, is I call the lead. We have a great conversation. We decide I'm going to start sending her listings. We decide that what area. We get everything. I ask the question, have you been pre-qualified for the mortgage? No. Do you need some help with that? Yes, that would be great. I email them to my mortgage team. I introduce the mortgage team. I introduce them to their mortgage team, and crickets, nothing. No reply to the emails, no reply to me. Not like it seems like they really want to do it, but then it just falls off, or they get busy, or whatever the reason could be.
And
What can
that's
I do
where
there?
knowing why they want to make that move in the first place. Because I think everyone on this phone call is identifying with exactly what you're saying. Because that's just the nature of the beast, right? Once you have that conversation, they enjoy that conversation because they're window shopping, but they probably really know that they're not able to make that purchase. But they're going along with the conversation because they don't know how to say, I have no money or I'm not going to be able to buy, right? They're just going along with it and they're not really seriously urgent. And I always bring this back to whenever we walk into a retail store and that sales clerk says, is there anything I can help you with today? The majority of the people say, no, thank you. I'm just looking, right? Don't bother me. I just want left alone. If I buy something, great. If I have a question, I'll ask you. But if I know why you walked in that door, I'm more empowered with how to kind of move forward with you. Because you can be walking through the mall just blowing time and just like going in and getting your fix because you love that store and you just want to take a browse, but you have no intentions of buying anything. You just love the store and you just want to see what's new. We don't ever want to tell people, no, I'm not here to buy anything. Leave me the F alone. I just want to walk through. Like, we're not going to be like, it's just not in us to do that. Right. So we tell them what they want to hear, or we tell them the line that everybody says, no, I'm just looking. Right. But if they ask that question of, well, if you were to buy something today, what would it be for? Would it be for a special occasion, for work? Right. So then that way we could get a kind of an idea of why. So if they're like, oh, it's for work. Oh, well, what do you normally wear when you go to work? Well, I wear this. And then they're overlooking at something totally different. Well, they lied, right?
I
So
ask those questions too. I ask, where do you work? What's the motivation for the move? What's the timeline? I even go to the point where, I talk about, how much they can afford when it comes to purchasing a property and versus what they're making. Like, I kind of
when you were
pre-qualify
talking
them
about the
early.
one specific person that you sent to the lender and then crickets,
Oh,
what was
it's been not one. There's like 20 over the
so who
last
was the last one? So the last one that you remember, what
yesterday.
was okay, so tell me about them. Did they own or did they rent?
So they're currently renting. The lady has two kids. The lady works full time. The kids work part time. They can afford a property. They're renting for I have the notes here actually. They rent for 3,000 a month. With that money, she also said that she can afford to pay more monthly if it's necessary. She was originally looking into pre-construction, but she would like to buy sooner. She has the down payment, more than 5%. Her salary is okay for what she's looking for. We've even, I even asked her, "Where do you live?" She's like, "Okay, I live in this area." She's like, "But my kids won't move anywhere else." I'm like, "Okay, great. But what if we were to find something in the current area where you are?" She's like, "Oh, that would be great. They would go for it." So I'm like, "Okay, so why don't we start with getting you pre-approved? I'll send you to my mortgage team. Oh, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. I sent an email, crickets. I messaged her. She's like, okay, I'll look into it when I get a chance. I'm busy right now. So it's
When is she in a month to month or when is her lease up?
she's in a month to month.
She's in a month to month.
Yeah.
So it sounds like she has a little bit of resistance from the kids.
Yes.
Okay. She wants this, her kids want this. So priority wise, they're not on the same page. So when buyers are making decisions to act on anything, and I'm going to go back to like Christmas, the only reason we actually pull out the wallet and make the purchase is because we have the date of December 25th of Christmas to actually give the gift to them. If we didn't have that said date, said time, we probably wouldn't make that purchase right then and there. We would procrastinate it, right? So when buyers are looking at buying a home, that is way bigger of an investment than a Christmas gift. So when there is inconsistencies with that move forward, their urgency is a little bit lower. And my question to you is, crickets, you reached out, you had the conversation, the lender has the information. Did you set up like a time and like did you like, hey, my lender will call you at like what's the best time for them to call you? Like, did you set anything up?
So the way I work with my mortgage team is I will send them the lead with the information and the phone number and everything. They reply within 10, 15 minutes saying, "Hey, you know what? Great to meet you. We're gonna help you out. We can have why don't we start with a phone call? We're available on this date at this time, this thing. If you are not available, can you please let us know what time works for you, and we'll reach out to you." So my team is really good when it comes to that. Uh, it's just that, like I said, she did say she's gonna reply and she's gonna answer and all that, but I don't see the sense of urgency when it comes to, you know, some of these people were, okay, you know what? I'm not available that date, but why don't we talk next Tuesday at such and such time, whatever the time is, right? And that's kind of the big, and this is not the first case. I mean, I
Sure.
can tell you
This is
20,
the norm. Welcome to real estate, right? This is
for
the norm.
sure, for sure.
And the ones that win are the ones that continue because we understand. So I like to save, or how do I want to say this? I like to prevent the objection before it's an objection. I started conference calling. Like you can just add a person to the call. Like, hey, I'm gonna pull in my lender right now. Are you available? Like, I'm gonna call my lender in right now. So you're gonna recognize if there's a red flag. Oh, no, 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 right? You're gonna recognize, right? Because we all have that on our phones now. Like you can always add a call, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So if they have that reservation, I would add in, just add the call. The second place is I always like to ask them, my lender's going to be reaching out within the next 15 minutes. Is there anything that would prevent you from taking this call? They're going to say no. Promise you, they're going to say no. If you are not able to take that call, how would you like us to follow up and follow through with you? Because then you're getting a little bit more information and you're getting that permission to follow back up with them. Because without that, we feel weird. We feel like we're bothering them. But if we kind of take that back and just ask them, it's like, how, if you're not able to talk to the lender within the next 10 to 15 minutes, how would you like us to proceed? Because what they don't know is you being set apart from every other real estate agent that's out there. Their mind, they don't need you because there's 50 other agents that they can call. There's 50 other agents that they've probably talked to. I'm being very like over aggressive with my
You're
numbers,
probably
but
right.
you get where I'm at, right? What is going to set you apart, your lender apart from someone else just being at the right place at the right time, right? You're trying to connect, you're trying to educate, You're trying to be there for them, but they don't see the value in that yet. All they're looking at is, I just want to go see a damn house. So even back, some buyers don't even understand why the pre-approval process is so important. So I pulled back and I started using different language. If you're what price range of a home is she looking at online?
She was at about 450, 500.
So what I like to ask people, instead of saying, are you pre-approved? Do you have any idea what your payment would look like with a $450,000 house? You have your down payment, you have taxes, you have insurance. Do you have any idea what your payment would look like? They're like, well, probably blah, blah, blah. Here's my main goal for you is I want to make sure that we protect your monthly expense. You're paying $3,000 a month rent right now. How much wiggle room do you have within that? And I want to make sure that what we're looking at is putting you exactly where you want to be financially. I haven't said anything about pre-approval. I haven't said anything scary. I just want to validate the fact of I want to protect your income. I want to protect your money. I want to protect how much money you're spending a month. Let's make sure that with the interest rates, because they float like the stock market, let's just make sure that the $450,000 property is going to be within a comfortable time, financial budget for you. And that kind of changes the game, right?
It's funny you say that because that's exactly what I use.
Okay.
My
So
lender
you're
has
dead on.
my lender has a mortgage calculator on there. So when I have a conversation with the purchase price and all that, I circle back and say, okay, with this amount of how much down payment do you have saved? They tell me what it is. I kind of do a rough estimate on what the monthly cost is, and then I go back. I go before we even proceed, going to the lender and whatnot. This is what the monthly payment would look like.
Don't give
Is
it to them.
something you're
They
comfortable
don't need
with.
to talk to your they don't need to talk to your lender now. You just gave them all the information.
Right.
Don't give it to them. Don't give it to them because less is more, right? You want to bait them and you want to get them in curiosity because you want them to talk to the lender, but you just took away the whole reason why they need to talk to the lender because now they know because they don't think they need to be pre-approved. They think they have it's a buyer's market. I got the power, right?
Yeah.
But they really don't because when it comes down to if they find the home they love and they want to write the offer, they're not prepared.
Yeah.
And we all know in the world of real estate, a house can be on the market for a freaking year, but once one offer goes on, another one goes on right on top of it.
Yeah.
What? And then they think you're lying, right? Like, welcome to real estate. Like, that's just what happens. It's the name of the
Yeah.
game. You can almost guarantee it every time that house can be on the market forever and then two offers come in at the same time.
For sure.
So our job is to give them as least information as possible. And Dennis, I used to, oh my God, I would spend an hour and a half talking to a lead on the phone. I would give them all the information. I would educate them on the market. I would educate them on the world. I would educate them, and they were the best positioned buyers out there. But then they had no reason to see me again, talk to me again, or even talk to my lender because I just gave them all the information. And now I've just empowered them to go out and talk to anybody else. So I learned real quick, I don't see squat diddly. You got to leave them curiosity. So when we're
Where's
asking,
the fine line between not giving them all the information and giving them enough for them to pique their curiosity to start working with you?
when you're asking someone the questions of when would you like to, and this is really important in the wording, when would you like to be in your next home? Because there's a difference in buying it and being in it. So when we know when they want to be in it, we have a realistic time frame. If they say yesterday, you know they got some urgency because that's impossible, right? So when we know when they want to be in it, that's the number one question. Then what are you comfortable paying a month? And are we going to find properties that meet your expectations? Because if you're looking at homes that are $450,000, depending on what you're putting down, depending on what the interest rate, the taxes, and the insurance is going to be, is that going to be in alignment with your budget? So that's the question number two. How important is it for you to be prepared? Because that's our next step in this game, right? I'm not saying that we're going to go out and look at homes tomorrow. What I'm saying is I want you to be educated in this process to empower you to have as much knowledge as possible. My job is to give you as much knowledge as possible to be able to make an educated decision to protect your money. Because what's buyers' number one rule, right? They want to keep as much money in their pocket as possible.
Sure.
Right? But the sellers, they want to make as much money as possible. So it's a different switch, right? So once we get what they're comfortable with, we know what that number is, and we know they may be smoking crack, that they ain't ever going to find a house at 450, but that's not our job to tell. That's the lender's job to tell. And then we may just eliminate a buyer because they may not find that number that's going to meet their expectation.
Yeah.
So that's really where that happy medium is, right? Is asking those questions to find out, when do they want to be in a home? What are they comfortable paying? Okay, well, let's make sure what we're looking at. Now, I don't know for you, as far as taxes are concerned, do you have different provinces that are that taxes are different if they're looking in different areas?
Well, the tax depends on the purchase price. The land transfer tax depends on the purchase price and the area. But also, if they're a first-time home buyer, they do get some discount as well. So,
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, we don't have that here. We don't have no first-time homebuyer tax breaks, and we have the senior tax break. Like once you hit a certain age, you get the homestead exemption because then you don't have to pay the school taxes anymore. That's what we have here. But so in the United States, we're always looking at, if you're looking at certain, ours are counties, taxes are different within each county, and your price per month can change depending on what counties you're looking in and location you're looking in. So that's what the goal is, right? And 99% of the time, no buyer agent takes the time to ask those questions to protect them.
yep.
So it's giving them some grace. And I always do follow up with, if you're not able to take that phone call or you're not able to connect with a lender, how do you want me to follow up? What do you want me to do? What do you want the lender to do? What is your best form of communication? Because I know life gets busy, and I know, right? Like meeting them exactly where they are with their struggles. I know your kids are on the same page as you, and I know there might be different timelines, and she might be having like serious anxiety over it because she's probably the one paying the rent and they're not. Right? And she wants to make that move, but you don't know what kind of anxiety she's dealing with behind the scenes.
Yep.
And it's just that constant, hey, I'm just checking in. Is everything okay? Hey, I'm just checking in. You checking in, the lender checking in. But if we ask that question on how you want to follow up, it goes a long way, because then you follow up and follow through. You're not going to win them all.
No, for sure.
A bigger percentage are going to fall off on the wayside. But what I have found through years of doing this, most of them that fall off by the wayside do not buy in anyway. I'll talk to them.
I have those in my pipeline right now where
Yep.
we've been in contact for years, and it's just,
Still haven't pulled the plug.
they need a friend, not an agent.
Yes. Well, and that's why we have to ask the right questions, because we need to identify that.
Yeah.
Right? But at some point, they're going to make that move.
Yeah. I have one lady, she's looking every single day, and it's been like that for 2.5 years. Every single day.
What has to happen in her life for her to make a move?
Oh, a lot.
So she ain't ever moving, is what you're saying.
No, she's not moving anytime soon, I can tell you right now. So when I get that, you don't want to invest that time right now. I mean, I check in once every, 3 to 4 to 6 months because I know what the situation is, but I'll just go, hey, what's going on? Has anything changed so far? Is still everything still the same? No, everything's still the same. I'm just keeping an eye out and so on. So you get those.
Absolutely. All right. So I have a question for you. It looks like you have, how many leads do you have? I just clicked on a filter and
Oh, I over 1,000 for sure.
yeah. Okay.
Like 2,300.
Yeah.
So, Crystal, tell me, The number one new lead, 0 calls logged. Tell me what
Hmm.
that filter is.
Let
I'm
me take a
looking at
look
it. I know. I just want you to
and
say
A
that out loud.
lot.
see. Yeah.
A lot.
So, so these are all the leads that he has that there's been 0 calls logged on them, hasn't made contact with them, and the phone number is potentially valid.
So, question for you. It appears as though you're having a lot of conversations because you have a lot of examples, because it's a lot that haven't responded to the lender. So if we have this many leads that we haven't made contact with, it's telling me that your call to connection ratio is very high. If you have that many conversations and you have this many leads that haven't been called.
So you're talking about how many people pick up when I call them? I actually do get quite a lot, believe it or not.
So why
I
aren't you
don't,
calling
I'm
more?
gonna tell you, I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at calling them because, you'll get busy, you're working with this client, this client, this client, and you don't have time for it. I'm terrible at it. But when I do call, when I do have the time to call, I want to say I get 50, 60% of those that I call to pick up, uh, you know.
Now, are you using the dialer or do you manually dial?
I use the dialer, yeah.
See, that's beautiful. And when we're looking at,
Hold
you know,
on, when you say the dialer, what does that mean?
do you use the like click the button and it auto dials and you're not like manually dialing it on your phone?
No, I
Through the
click on the
system.
lead and I go dial lead.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
using the
Yeah,
dialer.
I use that,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you're using the dialer. That's incredible numbers to make that many connections. So, question for you, is your struggle really the leads not committing, or is your struggle that you're not having enough conversations with the right leads that are ready to commit?
My struggle number one is I'm not calling enough leads, number one. Struggle number two is the leads that I do call and that I do get, that do pick up. 50% of them will tell me, "Oh, I'm at work. Call me this afternoon," and I do follow up, and they never pick
They
up.
don't answer the phone.
Nope.
Correct.
And then out of the other 50%, they're either dreamers or too busy or not ready, or there could be, number of other reasons.
So you just identified 3 different segments in your database, right? So I want to identify the second one that you mentioned, and hang on, bear with me here. My brain, like it melts a lot. What was the second one that you said? They, oh,
Dreamers,
no, before that.
they're
Add it
busy,
there. I should have
they're,
stopped.
they're at work, call me later.
Yes, they're at work. Call me later. I don't give a shit if they're at work. I know they're not going to answer when I call them later. The only thing I want to know is, wait. Do you plan on buying a home this year, next year, within the 5 years? That's all I
Not
want to know.
anytime soon. That's what they'll tell you because they want to get you off.
Well, if you're very specific, are you buying a home this year, within the next 2 years, or within the 5 years? Don't give them any other option. They'll tell you. And then I know how to qualify them in the database. Just looking 2+ years out, just looking 1+ year out. This year, heck, they're staying in my call queue. I'm going to keep trying to call them, but I will tag them as a night call so that they're only in my filter at night or weekends. So
Okay.
that way I know if they should stay in the call filter. But I always, at the end of that call, or before we end the call, can I just ask you one quick question? Because at the end of the day, all you care about is when they plan on making a move. That's it. Once we know that, we can kind of categorize them and move them around in the database. And then the ones that are just looking in the dreamers, well, they're just looking in their dreamers, right? We can just categorize them as licky loos, whatever we tag them as. But I always like to ask, if you were to move ever, hypothetically, what would be the reason? And that way, then you know exactly how to properly tag
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just described 3 different segments of the database. So now my question is to you. the goals that you had set, you don't need to share them out, you don't need to share them in the public. The goals that you had set for the amount of closings that you want to do for 2026, how on target are you to meet your
Behind.
goals? So when you're spending time in your day, how many closings, and again, you don't need to say this out loud, just mentally go through this. How many closings do you need to have every month to meet that goal? And when you're not at the closing table, let's just say hypothetically, you want to do a closing every week and you want it for a month, right? And you want to be at the closing table every Friday of every month. And some months you get 5 months or 5 weeks, right? You got 5 closings, right? If you're not at that closing table, I look at my business as a pillar of the goal is to have the closing so you make the money. The next piece is actively at a listing appointment or actively with a buyer. If you're not there, talking to somebody to find out to get that appointment. If you're not actively talking to somebody, then we're networking and we are making those phone calls and we have that attempt to find that person that's going to lead us the appointment that will lead us to the close. And if we're not doing any of that, we're doing market research to decide who our market is and educating ourselves so that we can have those proper conversations. So in your day, when you look at your habits, are you doing everything you need to do to get the amount of settlements that you need in your month, in your year, leading up to the settlement date?
So I'm going to tell you this. So I've been in the business a long time and pretty successful. So my targets are really, really high. Um, Most of my day is spent on people that I know will buy in the next 3 to 6 months. And there's quite a few of those people. Um, my biggest struggle with the lead generation is that I don't think that I have enough time in the day to get to the right people and call the right people so that, in the next whatever it is, you said your target is this year. Whatever this year's people are looking to make that move, it's trying to weed out those categories that we've identified so that I don't spend all my time on the people that are not going to be doing anything in the next year versus the people that potentially will be doing something. One of the things that I did realize is that a market dictates a lot of that.
Sure.
So the biggest struggle in GTA area right now, and I'm sure most of the agents that are on the call will kind of, you know, um, agree with me, is that because we went through such a quick, rapid appreciation rate in the last, during the COVID times, I mean, 30% market in 1 year, that's not healthy for anybody. And there's been a lot of sales in that market, is that those people are not making a move for the next 5 to 10 years because the market needs to recover for them to make sense, to make
Right.
any kind of move. The investors are not selling, the people are not moving. And so that's the biggest struggle, is that where most of the clients right now are the ones that need to move for whatever specific reason it is, or first-time home buyers. That's basically what it comes down to.
Agreed. I mean, I feel you there. So, question for you. What I heard is it's potentially a waste of time to call the leads because the majority of them are not going to be in your highest and best use of time after having those conversations because you have buyers right now, ready, able, willing, and ready that you want to spend your time with.
Not a waste of time. I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. Um, it's the fine line before finding that balance, is that when do I, when you spend a lot of time working with the people that are looking right now, selling right now, where do you find the balance to call the other, out of 100 leads that you're going to buy, half of them are going to not answer, half of the half is going to be dreamers, and then, you get the 5%.
Yes.
So
How do
you're
you
going
get
to
to them?
invest a lot of time to get to that 5% of people that potentially will be looking to make a move in this year. So it's about finding that balance versus obviously the family and everything else as well.
So that balance is called consistency and creating habits. And the last thing that we want to do, we will do, and I'm going to speak for every single agent out there because there's nobody except like me that loves calling leads. And even me that loves calling leads, I still have that like hesitation, right? It's like that feeling whenever you go to get on the front seat of a roller coaster, you kind of get that, right? And it's working through that, right? So we will always find excuses to not sit down and call our leads. And we fall out of that consistency. The reason I worked so closely with Agent Locator to help build the filters was my belief was if we could spend just 15, 20 minutes a day on our database, we would hit every single lead that we need to hit without wasting our time on the leads that aren't going to ever answer the phone or respond. But when we get a backlog of, hang on, 614 leads that have never been called, it's overwhelming. Where do I find the time to do that? Because now I got to go back and start fresh. So it's how you eat an elephant, one bite at a time, and finding those new habits. And it's honestly, when we look at our life, the habits that we create today and the choices and decisions we make today is ultimately going to lead to where we want to go. So we can look at the goal and we can dream about it and think about it, but if we're not going through the actions to meet new people, to have new conversations, we're never even going to get to that 5%. But if we're continually working our filters, because I know you got 20 minutes in your day to call,
100%.
right?
Yep.
But we will make every freaking excuse to not take those 20 minutes to call the leads. Because it's like, oh God, I got 20 minutes. Oh my God, if somebody answers the phone, I'm not going to be able to have that conversation and fully follow through because I got to go somewhere else and be somewhere at a certain time. So I'm not going to, I just don't have the time to call, right? And I know it, I live it, right? It happens. So it's really being methodical about this is my calendar, this is my time in my day, and this is how I'm going to get there. I bet you if I ask you how many phone calls do you need to make to have a conversation, how many conversations you need to have a settlement, you don't know the answer to that question.
No idea.
Yeah. The only way we know is by going through the motions, right?
And and to be honest with you, I don't have a fear of calling leads. I love talking to people. I talk to people all the time. When I did get busy, overly busy, I actually hired people to make calls for me. I've even had that. I even tried that, but it's just like I said, it's not consistent to a point where, I know that if I call 100 leads, I'm gonna get one deal out of it. It's not.
Maybe not a deal today. If I sat down and called 100 of your leads, I might not get you a deal today. But I will guarantee you, if I called 100 of your leads, I would find somebody that's going to be buying within the next 3 to 6 months. Guaranteed. Guaranteed out of 100.
Well, that
Hands down.
actually, well, okay.
Hands down.
That's
So
very
you
encouraging,
got to
to
come
be
back
honest
next
with you.
month and we're calling. Because now we're like 10 minutes, we got 10 minutes away, but you're coming on next month and we're dialing. I guarantee you, and Crystal, I mean, everybody that's ever been listening to me for a long enough time frame and watched me dial, now it's up to you, right? To keep that process going.
100%, yeah.
But guaranteed, hands down, out of 614 leads, I will bet you 20% of those 614 leads have already bought. Guaranteed.
Very, very possibly. Because I
40%
get,
are going to be bad phone numbers,
yep,
but they haven't, like those leads haven't even been eliminated yet for bad phone numbers,
yep. And I've
right?
even
So,
had conversations with leads where even I set them up in the system, I start sending them leads, blah, 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 and then they unsubscribe. They bought, most
Uh,
probably.
no, you don't. Maybe they had a death in the family. Like, no, you don't. Like, we think we know all the answers based on our perception, but one of I have a lot of favorite stories, but the one that's coming to my mind right now, I had a lady, she was in my call queue over and over and over again. Every freaking time she picked up the phone, she would disconnect every time. And it was at least 8 times. So she picks up the phone and I'm like, "Hey, don't hang up, don't hang up." And and I said, "I've been trying to get a hold of you. You keep hanging up the phone." She says, "I have a really bad connection. Can you call me back she gave me her home phone number. I called her back on her home phone and had a great conversation with her. But what was I saying? She's hanging up on me. She's hanging up on me. All the leads hang up on me, right? Because we think we know all the answers, but we don't. Every single person in your database has a story, and we do not know their story. And we cannot even begin to judge or guess or have an opinion of why they do what they do because calls drop all the time.
Yep.
People don't respond to text all the time, right? So we have to get that predetermined judgment out of our mind. And when we look at calling leads, if you just sit down and do the whole 4 ring rule, it's literally 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, right? Boom, boom, boom. Next, 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 next. Because 4 rings, if you don't answer the phone within 4 rings, I don't want to talk to you anyway because it's not a good time. People are going to call you back because they get FOMO, because they want to be able to end the call before you end the call. And they're like, wait, that phone rang and I didn't even get to answer it. I didn't even get to say no, right? So you'll get callbacks. You could literally go through 100 leads in less than an hour. It's that 4 ring rule, 4 ring rule. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And all you're looking for are the leads that are going to answer the phone.
And my biggest focus was on the leads that were the least last active online. That was my biggest focus.
So if you follow the filters and you look at, we were talking about the leads that I feel are now the ones that you set reminders for are ultimately your biggest priority. But the leads that just registered, I want to be really heavy on trying to get a hold of them on the phone within the first 2 weeks. Because I got to know, like, have you been looking for a long time and you increased your looking online? Are you just a licky-loo? Like, that's my biggest moment to try to make contact with people. And then when I'm having more conversations in those first 2 weeks, I'm able to organize them in my database so that I don't have such a huge call filter of 614 leads because I've had more conversations and I'm putting them where they need to be. I'm identifying the bad phone numbers, getting them on automation. So when I sit down at my dashboard, I don't anymore have 614 leads. Because once you get through them, when you maintain, how many leads do you have coming in on a monthly basis?
I believe it's 30 or 30, something
Yeah.
like that.
And that's average. So you have 30 leads coming in this month, right? Within 2 weeks of them registering, if you're calling all those leads out of 30, Crystal, tell me if numbers have changed. Out of 30, 40% are going to be bad phone numbers. So
Uh,
out of 30, my math is bad. Two,
so is
4,
mine.
6. What's that?
I said, so is mine.
So
12,
you would be down to if
28.
it's
Oh,
thank you.
sorry,
So
18.
18. So now you've got 18 leads to follow up with. Out of the 18, you're going to have talked to about 4. Now you got 14. It takes literally 5 minutes to dial 14 leads on that 25-second rule.
It takes, yeah, it's not. I'm just
It's
looking at
not.
his results here for his last 30 days because the texts go through. Doesn't necessarily mean you've got a great phone number. It's a valid phone number. We just don't know if it belongs to the lead yet. But in the last 30 days, there was 18 leads generated. One had a bad number.
Wow. Impressive. Impressive. So you have a little bit more call heavy than what I thought. But if we stay consistent with it, and I said 30 seconds earlier, it's 25 seconds, it's approximately 4 rings. Promise you're going to find the diamond in the rough. But it just takes that consistency. And the reason I was building systems and created the filters is because we don't genuinely have time as real estate agents, but we do have 20 freaking minutes in our day
Yeah.
to maintain the consistency. And from what I'm hearing, your problem is not having conversations. Your problem is not picking up the phone. Your problem is finding that time to do it. And
Yep.
now it's so overwhelmed because you've got so many to weed through. And then that perception of this isn't even worth my time because I got 614 people and I might have like 1 or 2 buyers in that. And if I got to call 614 people to find 1 or 2 buyers, I just don't have it in me to do it.
I'm not honestly, I'm not afraid of investing the time in it. And
You're
I'm
just
not
choosing
afraid.
not to.
Sorry?
You're just choosing not to.
Um, Not really. I
And
mean,
it,
yes and no.
it gets discouraging, right? After, you put in certain
I'm
efforts and
honestly
then it
like it
goes
gets to the
to,
point. This is pro, and I'm sure, like I said, every other agent's the same. You're gonna call 10, 15 leads, and you're gonna get one person that picks up, and 14 aren't gonna do anything, and and then it just gets discouraging to the point where,
Not being attached to the outcome. And,
yeah,
and that's really what it comes down to, right? Fall in love with the process and stop being attached to the outcome. And look at it from a mindset of I'm organizing my damn database so I don't have to spend as much freaking time in it. And that's why I love that grocery store analogy of the way that we created the labels. Because when we tag them, we know what has to happen for them to make a move.
yeah,
Are they just looking? Are they retiring? Are they first time home buyer? Are they divorcing? Like, are they relocating? Like, what has to happen for them to make a move? And then we're organizing them in the database, and then we know exactly where they are. It's up to us to follow up and follow through once we organize them. But when you have 30 leads coming through and you're consistently maintaining that, I mean, even 15 minutes a day, you're going to be having conversations every day. But we have to get past ourselves of having that one outcome of turning that person into a buyer.
yeah.
We need to look at our database as like the science experiment and start having fun with tracking it and really looking at the bigger overall picture of there's 614 different stories. And I just want to get a piece of some of those stories. I just want to get a piece of some of those stories. So when we start looking at like really caring about what their stories are and wanting to know their stories and where we fit into their life, we start changing our expectations of the reason why we're doing it.
The other problem I have is I have probably 50 different tags in my database. So I need to like refine that to the point where I don't have as many so that when I actually do attack somebody, I can filter those later on because it's just,
Well, it's making sure and understanding the tagging system because we have the buyer lost and we have the future opportunity. Because buyer lost is I already bought it. I have an agent, it's my mother, my sister, my brother, my best friend, right? Um, I don't have a down payment, but then that can go into like a lender loss, right? Or a lender opportunity. So as long as we can identify the leads of why we're not going to be doing business with them because they're a buyer lost or it's a potential future opportunity, even if they tell me they have an agent, I just call bullshit because how many people actually follow through and actually buy,
I
right?
do too, actually, especially if they tell me it's their friend or cousin or whatever, I take a
Yeah.
poke.
Yeah.
I kind of go, hey, you know, even though you have an agent, don't you want to hear another opinion and another, somebody else telling you about a certain property, about a certain area and stuff like that? Because more information is never going to hurt you. So I do take a
No, it's
poke.
true. Well, and I always want to know, like, if you have an agent, are you 100% confident that they are protecting your money and have your absolute best interest at heart when they're showing you properties? And that there, most people say no.
And it's happened, to be honest with you, it's happened to me only once, but where a person told me, oh, yeah, I have my best friend is an agent, and I took a poke at it and I said, hey, don't you want? And I ended up actually getting the listing because the friend agent was just getting into the market, didn't have enough experience. didn't know what to do and so on. I ended up getting the listing. So
Are you able to come back on the first Wednesday of June?
first Wednesday of June, I will tell you right now in my calendar. First Wednesday of June. Yes, I do, and I actually have a to call a lead, specific lead at that time.
Let me do it for you. I want to call
Actually,
your
this is a
leads and
lead, but this is a lead I met at an open house, though.
that's
Oh.
all right. That's all right.
Absolutely, I would love for you to call
So
it.
yes, June, what is the date, Crystal? I don't even know what
Third.
the date is. There you
Third.
go. He's like, yeah, I should call my leads. Yeah. All right. Let's get through
Awesome.
some of these leads. I
Yeah.
see David, like I spent an hour yesterday calling leads. Just one person said I should check back in December. All others are fine for now. Others didn't pick up. So that hour, did you follow that 25-second rule? 25 seconds next, 25 seconds next. Like how many leads did you call in that hour? And I know we're over time here. I have a few more minutes. How many leads did you call within that hour? Isaac, also, I'm having a hard time finding people to work with me, but they don't believe in CRMs. I don't know what you mean by don't believe in
Yeah.
CRMs. Do they get pissed off because they have to register? That's the only thing I can think of because people do get pissed off because they have to register. I just identify. I'm like, yeah, I know it sucks. I don't like it either. Sorry, but here we are talking. What's your situation?
Mhm.
Like when you meet leads where they are, they will drop their defense.
They don't
Sorry,
want
was
to
that for
call.
me?
So I think he's talking about maybe agents to someone to work with him to they don't want to call.
Oh, so you're talking about the agents that don't want to make the phone calls. Yeah, you need better agents. Um,
It's funny though, because watching this and working with a lot of different realtors, the ones that are pushing through this very unique market that we're all experiencing are the ones that are grinding every single day. They're pushing hard, right? They're not making excuses on the market slow and not doing the work or finding excuses. They're calling every single day. They're mass texting. They're using social. They're it's forcing everyone to really work on your business during these times to generate the business for ourselves.
well, I
And I
just
can,
feel, go ahead.
sorry, if I can just chime in, and this is for all the agents that are actually making comments and that they're not getting, anybody and stuff like that. I've been with Agent Locator, I believe 4 or 5 years now. I've got a fair amount of deals out of it when I invested my time. It didn't happen right away, but you follow up with those leads. The other thing, and I've been in the business for 12 years now, is that you can't put your eggs in one basket. Yes, you do have a
Yeah,
great agent locator, you
facts.
do have leads, but you also need to, have other means of getting clients as well, because you may not get a client from agent locator for 8 months, but then you might get three in a row. Or, you might do an and here's a kind of a probably a best kept secret for me is that I get a lot of clients from open houses, like a lot, where people walk in, but it's having that conversation with them. Hey, as soon as they come in, I'll have a conversation. Hey, are you looking for you or are you looking for someone else? How long have you been looking? Are you currently working with anyone? What prompted you to come to an open house? When are you looking to make a
And
move?
you put them into your agent locator and set them up. And
I
that's
do
that.
not. No, I
Why?
do not. I
Why?
don't know why. I have because what I do with those types of leads is I have the phone numbers and the emails and stuff like that, and those are on my list to call right away. So I'll have
Get
an
them
email.
in, make them scan in and sign in right at the open house. Get a QR code, have them register right at the open house, and then identify them as open house. And then you have a whole other section in your CRM of all of your open house leads.
So
And then they're
that's
all in
one
one
thing.
space.
So that's one thing, Beverly, when I'm not sure what to do, and maybe you can actually help me with that advice. So I don't know if you're aware, but here in GTA we have a realm, a program that's been uh, just introduced a few months back. And it's really, good for both sellers and buyers and agents where it's very interactive. They get MLS listings that are like right away. They can like a listing, they can comment on a listing. So all of those other clients that I get from open houses and referrals and all that, they go straight into my realm where they register. I have their phone number and everything. I set them up. They get daily listings and whatnot. So it's kind of similar to Agent Locator, but I believe that those people are the ones that have the priority over the CRM.
So
But
now
you're
you have
using another series. Yeah, you're using,
you
there's
have
your
two
time. There's
different,
your time.
and I was there, Dennis. I was there, and Isaac, I hope you're still on here. So I'm going to answer your question about your South Florida second market. So don't leave us.
And sorry, before you do, the only reason I do this, because I do believe that Realm is more interactive because they actually have an app on your phone where you can actually go in and do everything from your phone. With Agent Locator, you don't have an app, so you have to go on your computer to do that. Does that make sense?
You have an app.
Yes,
Yeah,
Realm
I was
has
like,
an.
Agent Locator has an app.
Okay, that's something new.
We actually have two.
yeah. Yeah,
Actually,
I was like,
three.
wait, I'm
We
like,
have
I'm not
three
answering
apps.
that because I know there's an app, but that's out of my realm. I'm here for leads, not the
Yeah,
app.
you can't
Yeah,
adjust their listing searches through the app, but you can call the leads on the go. You can text them. You get the push notifications. Yeah. It's anything that has to do with like adjusting searches, things like that, you would definitely have to do on your desktop. But it's more for communicating with the lead more than or seeing what they're doing if they're active.
yeah,
Yeah. But
Yeah,
Dennis,
I
we
did not like
can.
having two different systems because I had confusion, right? I had two different companies of leads. And because I was like hoarding my market, like nobody's going to get this because it was like if you had it, you own the area. So I just freaking bought up it all. And then I had like all these different systems and it was like, oh my God, it was just insane. So I just consolidated everything into one because if I'm building best practices and you have to build your business, like you're going to be hiring somebody. And the more systems you have in place, the more difficult it is to train somebody to help build your business, right? So I like to keep things as simple as possible and really condense into one. So even though they may even be in there, if they're an agent locator, then you got, yeah, then they're an agent locator. Then you got to look at them in here. And it's like, are they opening here? Are they opening there? Right. I like to keep everyone in the same space. If it works for you, great. But I like to have everyone in the same space. Um, as long as you have them somewhere, you could always do an export and import them into Agent Locator so that you have the call list so that
sure.
everything's congruent and you're making all your communications out of Agent Locator. I just hate having to go in another system to see what they're looking at while I'm in Agent Locator. I like to see everything in one space.
Makes
Um,
sense.
Mhm.
yeah, but it's totally what works best for you. And Isaac, if you're still with us, South Florida leads have been terrible, wrong numbers, emails. So as far as a second home market, you are in a completely different element. And having conversations with people, you can't make them move to a particular location because you do have a lot of people that are like throwing a dart at the United States. And they're like, wherever I end up, right? So my goal, whenever I was always calling leads in a second home market, was asking the questions of community. What are you looking for in a community? When you're standing at your kitchen window, what scenery do you want to see? How close do you want to be to amenities and what amenities are important to you? Because you want them to, because the only thing that's going to make somebody move to a house is more than likely community. So whenever you get an idea of what they're looking for that would make them move to a second home market, are they moving to a second home market? Are they looking for an investment property as a rental destination that they want to own and rent out? Like, what are their goals? And then being able to educate them from that perspective. But I do find second home markets are more challenging, not going to lie, as far as bad phone numbers, because they really truly don't know. But the good phone numbers, if you can have those conversations, are really good leads to have really in-depth conversations with. And I think the most important question is always asking them, if you had a home in this area and you're standing at your kitchen sink and you're looking out the window, what do you see? because you want to identify them with that location and find out what it is that truly drives them. Because different areas hold different things, you know. Is it a beach? Is it the golfing? Is it freaking pickleball? Is it whatever it is that you want to do? What's important to you, and selling the community, not so much the homes. I hope that helped. But Dennis, I'll be seeing you in June.
June 3rd. I'll be there.
They call it the lease.
I can't wait.
Dennis, in the meantime, I'm going to send you a link so you can jump through and go through some of those filters that are going to help speed up your processes and kind of target smaller groups. You're not looking at 600 leads or 2,000
Yeah, and that would
leads.
actually be, Dennis. So if you so that would be like a goal over the next few weeks, right? Like start to go in and organize so that you have a really good call list. Because I can't call 614 in the hour that we have.
Way to put me on the spot.
We're going to see what that number looks like in 1 month.
All right.
Guys, thank you so much. It's always a
Awesome.
pleasure. Dennis, thank you for your time. I
Beverly,
appreciate
thank you so much for your time. I
You're
really appreciate
welcome.
it.
Have a great
Thanks,
day.
guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.